Have you ever thought that your family background can really impact the way that you live your life and probably how you interact with your customers, your colleagues, and everyone? So, my family background is this way. I was brought up in a household with both parents that were teachers. Hmm, think about it. And in Kenya, teachers are very strict. Or basically, should I say, in Africa, teachers are very strict and they want to see perfection in the kids that they are teaching, and they would want to definitely bring that back home. So that means uh, everyone in that homestead must be disciplined, from the kids all the way to the workers. And so um, that was my situation growing up. And myself, like many boys and also many kids, we were so cheeky. And I was so, should I say, touchy touchy, especially when it came to electronics, my father's gadgets, the bicycle. I would always run into trouble with him because uh, the moment I put my hands on anything, then I used to, damage it. And so I would run into problems with my dad, especially because he would not want me to tamper with his electronics, with his bicycle, with his, radios, watches, and all that. Despite the fact that he was very strict, uh, I don't know how my mind was, but I was really, really uh, so into his stuff, even though he cautioned me not to touch his gadgets and everything. But I was really, really uh, pissing him off. And so he would beat me up. Uh, at our place, we have two bamboo types. A bamboo, when you plant even one seedling of bamboo, it grows up to be very huge. And sometimes I think that this bamboo was intentionally planted for me because, man, every time that I made a mistake, my sisters would be sent for that bamboo stick while I was lying there. And uh, he would prepare, like, move the tables around and lecture me. And every time, with every word, with every second that passed, I was just imagining how the beating would be. And there was nothing that would reverse that process. I knew for sure I would be beaten up so badly. And so sometimes I used to wonder, why was this happening to me? And I used to think he hated me. He didn't want uh, anything to do with me. He was not happy about me, or I used to have a lot of thoughts on that line. And so it used to bother me, especially uh, thinking that I was the one who was beaten more than my siblings. Uh, I can't really remember the last, I mean, a time whereby my sisters were beaten. All that used to happen to them was, they were lectured and all that. But their mistakes were not as bad as mine, because I used to do a lot of silly mistakes and repeat them more oftenly. And I used to really receive beatings. And My father was a teacher. He used to teach English, and can't really remember. My mom was a mathematics teacher, and both were very strict with me, especially. They were both strict with me, and they wanted perfection. So, if I remember there's a day my dad walked into my room, he would look around and see whether everything was in order. And here's one thing that my dad was. He would tell you that you have done something good without really saying it. And I think this is something with most teachers. For anyone who has been brought up in that setup whereby you either one parent is a teacher or both parents are teachers, wow. If both parents are teachers, man, you are put in a very tight spot. And so, if again both were very strict, then definitely there is a way that uh, you would live your life in this manner that every minute counts, every hour is a test. If in that hour you mess, you just know that you will not go unpunished. And so you lived a life whereby you watched every step. It's like a bride in a wedding when she is marching. Every step counts. Every move matters. What move you make, uh, these are the maids, or maybe the people who are there, who are in charge of making sure everything is right. With every move that you make, they are watching over you to see that everything is perfect. So that is the life of a kid brought up with a parent who is a teacher. And so it makes you uh, be very careful with everything that you do in this life. And so growing up with that strictness really really shaped me, and shaped my life in this sense that when you talk to people, how do you talk? You watch your words, because I remember when growing up, I would even be seated with friends, and we are just talking, and probably you say, or you abuse your friend and you say, like, wewe ni mjinga, or you are stupid. Man, all hell breaks loose. And you see, when you're interacting with the kids, other kids from other family backgrounds, they use all these words, and the parents are just there, maybe moving on with their life. It's no biggie when, for instance, you use such a word, unless you use a deep word, you curse with a deep word, then it will raise their eyebrows. But for us, even when you talk in a certain tone, it's like the parent was concentrating on what you guys were doing all along, and you thought that this parent, mother or father, was focused on what they were doing. For instance, my father, when he was not working as a teacher, he ran a furniture shop back in our village home. And so he would be busy doing his furniture works and all that. And we are over here maybe looking after the goats or cattle with friends. And you raise your voice over your friend, and he's there. Like, why would you say so to him? Or why are you shouting at your friend? Why are you so loud and all that? And I'm like, man, why can't you just focus? Okay, I, I wouldn't say this, but it was again in my imagination. If you really say anything back at a parent who is a teacher. Man, just know it's kind of like it's your death day. It's a day that you're going to die. And when I talk about that, it doesn't mean that our parents didn't love us. But recently is when I've started to look back and start to, unpeel things and see how this strictness and how actually the way I was brought up shaped me, shaped my life, shaped my thinking and everything. To be honest with you, I would say I used to hate the fact that I was being beaten, and I used to think that I was the one who was singled out of the four siblings, myself, my two wonderful sisters, and my brother. And I would receive a lot of beatings to this extent. Listen to how this played out. So I remember there is a day that there was a celebration or there was fun in our house because of this, that a day passed without me being punished. And a comment from my sister was like, I remember we were eating our dinner. And so my sister asked, "Aye, and today Kamau has been so good. He has not been beaten up." And people were like laughing. And I was like, wow, these beatings were happening each and every day. And listen, maybe you are like me some few years ago. You are thinking, oh, your dad must have been a very bad person. That was not so right. It is not good to punish children. You can talk to them. But let me take you back a bit and just tell you about how I used to find myself to that position. So my dad would come home with a new radio and tell us about the features and try to say, this radio can do this, can do this, can do this. And there was an LED light there, and probably it would, you know, have several channels, and this is how you would change the channels. It had this number of batteries. And when he was talking about that, myself, I was thinking about tomorrow. I will wait for this man to get out of the house, and I will take that radio and open it and get to see everything that is inside and get to know about this radio. Get to know how is this light, the red light, working. When you are tuning, those radios of those days, you are tuning and then the light goes dim, and then when a station comes up or clears up, the lights brighter and all that. So I wanted to know, how is all of this thing working? So when he was explaining, I was not even concentrating. I was just thinking about tomorrow. You go to work, and I hope that tomorrow you just go to work. There is nothing that will come up that will make you stay here. So the moment he goes to work, I will try and look in that house, every place, and get that radio, no matter where it has been hidden. Of course, it will be hidden because he knew I will definitely uh, do a lot of things with that radio. So I would take that radio, get the screws. I remember even in our home we had tools, but they were hidden. But Impossible was nothing for me. So what I used to do, I would take even a knife and try as much as possible to reach for the screws and unscrew the radio. Get everything apart. See how it was operating, the speakers and everything and everything. And that time, I'm at a place whereby I'm alone. I'm in the middle of either a field or I'm in the farm. So I'm getting these things apart without minding to know how I will reassemble it back. Maybe I've started doing that very early in the morning. I'm in the farm alone, hidden over there. I can hear maybe someone is calling me, but I won't bother responding because I am busy here. I'm doing something here. So I'll take that radio apart. Remember, it's a new radio that he bought yesterday. So I'll take the entire radio apart, dismantle everything, trying to get to understand how is this thing working. Uh, People who are talking here, where are they, and all that, and what is this? How does it work? How does the battery coordinate with this uh, entire part? Okay, there are wires and all everything. How does the switch and all of that? At least you get the picture. So now I would find myself, it's already 5 p.m. So, mind you, I've not even eaten lunch. I don't even feel hungry at that time. So, then it hits me that it is time for him to come back. So, I have to reassemble the radio and make sure that it is working before I return it where he had placed it. Now, here is the big issue. Where are the screws? The radio does not have the screws because I've misplaced them. I'm in the farm. I don't have a place whereby I was placing each and everything that I was taking apart. So now I don't have the screws. There are some parts which I cannot be able to put them together because, again, at that particular point, I'm not an engineer. My mind is just to take everything apart and understand what is happening, be curious, know what this thing is, and everything. So the idea of probably having a surface that is smooth where I can place these things so that after I'm done doing whatever I'm doing, I can put back every piece together. I don't have that mind. I don't have that capacity to imagine that way. So everything is not adding up. I don't have the screws. So what do I do? Because I know I'm racing against time, and it will be worse for him, my dad, to come and not find the radio where he placed it, because again, that is the second issue. Number one, where is the radio? Number two, why is it not working like I left it? So I will take everything. Remember, at that particular point, uh, probably the speaker is out. I don't have the screws for the speaker. Now I I try to put everything together and just attach them there, and then insert the batteries. The radio is not working. Is not powering on. A lot of mistakes there. And I just imagine myself when he will be beating me up, he'll be counting the errors. You took my radio without my permission. The radio is still new. That those are already two strokes. The radio is still new. I've not even used it for one day. You have already spoiled it. Who gave you the permission? Where are the screwdrivers? Why didn't you do the work that I gave you? You went to spoil my radio. On the other side, my sisters have completed the work that they were given. Probably have done an extra work. My brother, by then he was little. He has played. He has not offended anyone. He has come back home. And so it is dinner time. We are there. So my dad sends my sister, go and bring the radio. Man, I'm seated there as if I didn't do anything, as if someone else touched that radio. And the radio is brought. My sister says, asks, kwani inawashwaje na kwa nini inakaa hivi? Man, the moment she says those words, there is a shiver that is just running down my spine. And when he was coming with the radio, I'm just praying and hoping, please God, I pray, I go to church, and whenever I'm given an offering by my mom, I take it faithfully to the offering basket. Please God, please, I beg you, let that radio not have an issue when it lands to my father's hands. Now, as my sister is handing the radio to my father, everything falls down because I replaced the screws and everything. At that particular point, uh, my father already knows that I did that thing. Nilifanya ile kitu. He sends for the bamboo sticks, and I'm beaten up because of that. Because already he warned me, do not place your hands on my stuff. You can go play with your own things, with your friends, but don't touch my stuff. But who is John? John would ruin each and everything that he was told not to touch. Be it a spring file, I would be so curious, how does a spring file, how does this spring fold come back? How does this speaker has a magnet? How can it just touch this material and not touch this material? The process, I pour water on it, and so you get the picture now. I ran into trouble with my father 1,000 times. I offended him, and naturally, he would be pissed off. And so he used to beat me so much. And that one actually, as much as I tried not to, but I would find myself really, really messing up with my father's gadgets. If it was his bike, I would take it, and there's a way that I would just spoil it. So he was so tough on me. And I also remember that when growing up, there were times that I would say that I am sick and look for a green, you know, a green pass, or I would say look for an excuse to say that, I'm sick, I would want to rest. But he would look around the circumstances. Why is this guy saying that he's sick? And some few moments later, or just yesterday, he was running everywhere, playing, and he would find something out of it. This guy does not either want to go to school, doesn't want to attend church, or he doesn't want to work. So he would tell me, uh, when you are sick, you don't lie down the whole day. You'll be sicker even more. So, how does that story resonate with my today's life? Sometimes I feel like I am sick or I'm lazy, I don't want to do a task. And I remember the words that my dad told me, that when you are sick, you don't lie down the whole day because you encourage this sickness. It's like you're telling the sickness, you know what, I've succumbed to you. I want you to continue, uh, pinning me down. So it's like you're talking to the sickness, you are communicating with the sickness, and whatever is happening in your body grows bigger and bigger and bigger. But when you tell this sickness, no, 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 you continue, punishing me with whatever thing you're doing inside of me. But on this other side, I will continue working and finishing the tasks that I purpose to finish. And when he tells me that, and we'll probably work together to maybe go and do some task, I will just find myself that I'm already healed. And so that one has always impacted me in the way I do things. That if today I had planned I was going to do A, B, C, D, I will definitely have to complete that task or those tasks, because I simply remember that he told me, do not encourage the sickness or the laziness in your body. So for the longest time, even when I was in high school, and even after high school, I went to college and even graduated, I kept on thinking about my childhood. And this is the point whereby I also come out openly that in my adulthood, I was thinking about uh, my childhood, and just thinking why he would beat me so much. And I used to think that he hated me to the point that he would beat me up. And he passed on in 2006 due to diabetes. And I was asking myself and even saying, if he would be alive, I would go back to him and just ask him questions. Of course, seated at a distance, ask him questions and demand for answers. Dad, why did you hate me? Why would you beat me up? And all that stuff. But uh, recently, I started looking deep into everything and trying to see why I was brought up the way I was brought up, and just trying to understand everything. And I came to a conclusion that, you know, growing and becoming an adult, at some point in this life, you'll be alone. And there are tools that are going to help you, which you're not going to buy them in the shop. These tools are what you picked while growing up. Could be either from your relatives, from your parents, from your siblings, or even from your surroundings. They're the tools that you picked are maybe character, or the discipline that you are given, or the words that you are given. And this is what is going to, you're going to use to be able to, build up on the foundation, or let's say build up on what you're trying to do in life, regardless of what you're doing. So uh, for me, I have been picking a lot of things. Like I said, my father was a teacher, uh, and on the side, he was also doing furniture works. And his strictness, first of all, he was very smart. Smart in terms of how he was thinking, how he was handling issues, how he was dealing with people, how he was doing his work, how he was dressing. He wanted perfection. So lately, I've been thinking a lot and rethinking, and the idea that my dad hated me has vanished. What I am thinking now and doing now is to always going back, and because I have a lot of memories growing up, and especially dealing with him. I used to watch him closely because he was the closest man in my life. And I pick a lot of lessons from him. And I remember when he was dealing with furniture works, when he was away working as a teacher, uh, he left people who would work on the furnitures in during the day. He would come in the evening to check and confirm uh, whether these guys have done the tasks that he had left. And his work ethic was super insane because imagine he would leave the house very early in the morning, go to school, even though he was on duty the whole week, he would still find time after he comes from school, change from the official dress code and change his clothes and then get into the workshop. If, for instance, they were dealing with a customer's bed or chair or anything, he would get in there as if the day has started, so fresh, continue working with these guys, and they were sharing stories. And again, I picked something from there. He never used to look upon those workmen he was working with, because you would find that they were having stories. He would even ask my mother, have uh, did these guys have food for lunch? If, of course, my mother would respond yes, they had food, because my mother was a teacher at a nearby school, and she would uh, keep tabs of everything that was happening at home, because she would go to school and then during lunchtime she would come over for lunch, and just to ensure that everything was running smoothly in the home. So she would of course confirm that these guys had lunch. And my father would also go an extra step and say, if there is tea or something we can buy it as we conclude the day, let us have it. And so, how does that teach me that respect everyone that you meet in life? Every person that you're working with, respect them, and treat them as though it's you or how you'd want to be treated. So these guys, they would work together, have a lot of stories, share a lot. They would talk as if they were peers. Whereas my dad, uh, after he was, when he started teaching, he rose up the ranks so fast because he was just a school teacher. He would teach in the primary school. He rose to a deputy teacher, to a headmaster. He was promoted and he was moved to schools as he was being promoted. And then finally, he was promoted to an AEO. An AEO is an E educational, sorry, an AEO is an area educational officer. So he was overseeing several schools in that area. And so he had a lot of uh, titles under his belt and also a lot of things to do. And when he was outside there, he would be given a microphone before people, address people. But when he's at home, uh, typically I would think or imagine that this is not a person that they would share just common stories. I mean, he's working under my father. My father has employed him. So there are some stories that they cannot just talk like that. And it has taught me that when you're dealing with people, don't place yourself above them. Place yourself under them so that you're able to work in harmony. The goal here is to work, yes, but there are other things that you need to do, like you know, because you're working with people, you're not working with machine, be able to work harmoniously with them. So that taught me a lot. Even while I'm doing my work, and if I get an opportunity to work with other friends or colleagues, I ensure that we work in harmony. There is no quarrels, so that at the end of the day, we achieve what we are here for. And also, you know, we get moving smoothly in life, which is again so much important, because in this life it's not just about achieving things, achieving goals, setting goals and achieving them, you know, coming up with plans and going through the plans. But what matters again is how are you going, how you are going through those goals that you've set. You don't want to come out of the other side hurt. You don't want to come out of the other side hurting other people. You want everything to run smoothly. So I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot of work ethic again in this manner. uh, when he was preparing his reports for schoolwork, because I used to also check his work, his handwriting, man, was great. And if he was writing, for instance, a report, and you know, he had an A4 page, he was writing a report, and he made a mistake in the middle, he will do away with that entire paper. He will do away with the entire writing and start afresh. And his papers were so orderly. He will do that, put that in a file, and his work was so clean. The papers, they were very white, bright, and all that. You'd finish that, place it in an envelope, uh, prepare everything for tomorrow, so that you go to his work with everything clean. Talk about neatness. Would get out of the house very neat. Even though he was just going around the farm, he would shower, wear neat clothes. And I remember we used to have an iron box that used charcoal, burned charcoal. So I would iron his clothes every day. And you see, it is not like what I'm now used to in my house, whereby I have an electric uh, iron box where I just connect on the wall and start ironing. It took a process whereby you need to have charcoal ready, hot, place it in that iron box, wait for it to heat before you can use it to iron your clothes. If you don't do that, or you go through the entire process, you're not going to get your clothes ironed to your desire. And his clothes were so ironed and so neat, and he would do that every day. And so he was so he would comb his hair. I remember we were, us as the siblings, we, or his kids, we would have turns, we would take turns to ensure that we polish his shoes. And when we take the shoes to him, he would look at them and uh, you know, appreciate you for what you have done, through positively commenting that, wow, nice, the shoes are very shiny. And so by those words, we will do our best to ensure that we polish the shoes so well, so that we would at least earn that compliment, which was you know, hard to come from him. And I understand now it was hard for him to come up with a compliment simply because he wanted the best. He was like telling you, okay, you have given me 9 out of 10, and it's way above average. It is, in fact, excellent. But did you know that you can give me 10 out of 10? Did you know that you have the potential to give 10 out of 10? So why are you settling at 9? As much as it's excellent, but why not go all the way or even go overboard? So that was it. And when it came to furniture now, again, that is an area he used to perfect. I don't know how he was able to balance this. Uh, his work, because kids were even performing better during his time. Uh, Teachers were organized, and they would say that he was strict. At the same time, he was friendly with them. Uh, his schoolwork, like I was talking about the papers and his paperwork, was so organized. And then when it comes to now furniture work, this is what used to happen. Very nice work ethic that I picked from there, that I even use now as I work in my company. And he would want everything perfect before handing it over to the client. So let's say they were working on a bed, uh, and then when you look at the entire bed, it is so beautifully made. But he would spot something very small, very minor that, any other person can just let it go or not worry about it. And that bed will go back to the workshop, and that thing would have to be sorted out before handing it over to the client. And he would thoroughly check the bed, or if it's the sofa set they were working on, thoroughly check it to ensure that there is no error, even if it was underneath it. So if it was being parked in a car and then he spots an error, that seat or specific furniture will have to come out, go back, no matter how many days it will take for it to be fixed, so that when it goes to the client will not have any fault out of it. And this perfection really helped him, because remember, like I said at the beginning of this video, I grew up in the village, deep in the village. And so the town where he would source for materials was a bit far. But that did not come on the way of, uh, I want my customer to experience quality. I want my customer to get the best of the best. As much as this piece is ready and I want to deliver it to the customer today as promised, and I want the customer to get it uh, uh, today as we talked, but it is important that the customer gets something that is quality. So it will even go back, it will even stay for 1 week or 2 weeks as he sources for the right materials that will get this item, the furniture, to be perfect. And so it taught me that it is not just about the money. It is not just about the numbers or the quantity of materials that you are giving. It is about perfecting, giving value, giving that experience that when the customer is using this thing, they are very sure that, yes, it's a seat that I'm sitting on it. I can see it is very beautiful, yes. And this piece of work was perfectly done. And even though I check underneath it, everything is perfect. So I learned a lot from there. And even in my dealings nowadays, when I do my business, uh, it is all about perfection. It is not about the money. It is not about the number of work I do. It's not about the number of materials I sell. It's not about all of that. It is about perfection. And I used to wonder, why would clients pass all these people who are working or producing the same furniture and come deep into the village to get this material or to get this piece of furniture done for them. And now I know that there is something that they were looking for: value. They wanted value, and they wouldn't mind paying for any amount as long as they were guaranteed that they were getting that value. And that's why they would come all the way from town, past several towns that had these people who were producing furniture, and come deep into our home, which was deep into the village, and get these furnitures. So that was basically my background. And as much as I was saying, I really passed through a lot of punishment, beatings, and canes. Now I am picking uh, the best part of my childhood or my upbringing, because if I continue crying about the beating is gone. But I'm trying to look for the seed in the chaff, or the gold in the dirt, the diamond in the dirt. And I think, as I come to a conclusion, that is where most of us miss. I think we focus too much on the bad instead of focusing on the excellent. Because if I would say the bad was the beating, but there is a lot that I'm able to learn from him. Uh, my father, his name, Gatehi, was a very, very clean person. He would never repeat his socks. I remember there are so many times when he would come from work, he would place his uh, 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 feet on the table and ask us to, remove the socks. As you know, most of the folks back then used to do so. And I think it gave them joy that to see their kids were, they were growing and they were able to do this. So many families would have their fathers do that. And so I don't remember a single day that his feet smell. That is another work ethic that is very important. That to make sure that you're clean, your socks are clean, your shoes are clean, you don't repeat them. And when you are walking into people and probably you are removing or you're taking out your shoes, you are smart. There is no smell whatsoever. So that is the story about him. And I am learning a lot, that even what I am doing right now, even this man arrested in 2006, he's resurrecting in my life now. He's very much alive in my life. When I go to deal with customers, when I go to deal with people, if I don't give excellent, I would rather not give, because I reflect back and see that people were coming to our home, they were coming to our store to get all these furnitures, and it is simply because they were coming to get value. And that is exactly what my father was doing. He was giving people value. He didn't mind about the number of items he was selling. And apart from that, there were so many things, because I would hear friends complimenting him, clients complimenting him about how neat he was and all that. And so I am able to go back and pick on that. And even now, the beatings are turning to be positive, because I'm like, if for instance that was not happening to you that time, maybe now you'll be a crook, you'll be a thief, you'll be a liar, you'll be telling people things that you just want them to be happy hearing, or you'll be a con man. You're in the internet, or you're telling people this, and on the side you're doing this. And I find it so weird when people promise this and deliver something different. That is like not in my DNA. My father would promise a person that I will give you a bed, a seat, a chair, a table, a stool that is this design in the picture or in the photograph. It will be this color, and the color will not come out unless you leave it in the rain, or unless you do ABCD. If this stool was seated by a person even as heavy as this number of kgs, this tool will be able to withstand. He would promise that, he would deliver that. And these clients would keep on coming back for more, meaning that the my father's word was right, and it was it. He did not just say words for the sake of saying them. So I learned a lot from that, and I I think like back in the days there was no much advertising, but he would still get clients. I think it's the uh, 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 it should be what we are doing now. Like most companies should not even be spending the much they're spending for their advertisement. All they need to do is just focus on their product, give the best of their product, like Elon Musk is doing it. I heard him saying sometime that he did not really focus on advertising his Tesla cars. He focused on improving each and every model that was he was working on, and his team. So I think businesses should be concentrating on their product, focusing so much on giving the best experience to their customers, as opposed to giving their customers a lot of advertisement. Because as they say in Swahili, kizuri chajiuza. A good thing will definitely market itself. So, like I said, uh, I'm so happy right now at this stage of my life, because my father gave me a great foundation. My father instilled in me great tools that I'm able to use right now. And when I go back, I'm able, so several years ago, I'm able to pick these things and apply in my life, even in my personal life, in my business, in dealing with customers, in dealing with people. I'm able to go back. It's like a storage, it's like a memory inside of my brain. I'm able to go back and pick on these experiences. And I'm so glad that my father was the way he was, that he was perfect, that he was doing things and even telling us things without really saying them, like the perfecting of the furniture works. He would he was like communicating to us, in future you might be a business person. If you're dealing with a product, if you're dealing with a service, you must be perfect. This is how you do it. But he never said it. He never saw a businessman in any of his children. But the furniture that he was dealing with, he was communicating. We were kids, we didn't even know. But right now, I can go back and see this. So I can say that though my father is resting now, he is very much alive in me. He didn't die, he transitioned. He didn't, his legacy didn't die. In fact, when I go home, I tell myself, or what I'm planning to do, I know that I say that I'm going to my dad's and at least do some cleaning there. That is the graveyard, and try to do some cleaning there and make sure that it is okay. And at that time, I'm constantly connecting with him. Each and every day in my life, he's alive. Though my father died in 2006, he's alive in me each and every day that I wake up. And there was a time I was thinking of, I was also under stress when I came to realize of how important my father has been in my life. And I was like, My dad, if you are alive today, I will come visit you, buy whatever thing that you would love, buy you suit, buy you a shoe. But I stopped doing that. I started implementing what he taught me without saying, being clean, being honest with myself, being honest with others, loving myself. Because if you don't love yourself, it is very hard for you to love others. And instead of now saying that, oh, my father, you are no longer with us, how can I cry? How can I hold a memorial to just remember you and respect you? He will not feel that. He's not here to physically see that. But the best thing I can give to him, you know, I am part of him. At one time, I was residing in him. At one time, I was under his control. But now, I am not. But I am a product. And everyone would love to see their product doing well outside there. So, what I have purpose to do in this life is to live exactly that, to live by his principles, his character. There was no time that police came in our home when I was alive and arrested him for any wrongdoing. There was no time that any person accused my father of stealing anything from him. There was no time that my father engaged in a fight with any person. There was no time that my father had, quarrels, shouting much here and there with the neighbors. They would talk harmoniously. They would agree on something, even though there was they argued, or they would at least come to a conclusion that, okay, this is it. If he was wrong, he would admit that I am wrong and I'm sorry, please forgive me. He had a lot of friends. People would come to our place to visit and they would have conversations. He would also take us to those families and would have a dinner together, would have joy and would celebrate and would come home. And so instead of me looking back and regretting and, probably saying, ah, my father, you really did beat me a good deal. So I have a lot of things that I can go back and pick from this cloud of memory. And I can find a lot positive more than negative. The only negative is one: he beat me. But is that really a negative? He was shaping me to be a better person. If I steal something or take something that is not mine, he would beat me. And that has shaped me to be the way I am. If something is not mine, I don't touch it. I don't go conning people and convincing them that give me your money and I will deliver this, yet I know very well that I will not deliver. If I'm not able to deliver these, I will not commit myself. I would rather go without food for days than, lie to someone that I will do this, and yet I'm very sure that I'm not in that line of delivering ABCD. So that was a great moment for me, and nowadays I just enjoy my life. I have nobody to blame. I have no one to, have to ask questions or to regret that if they were alive, I would do A, B, C, D. No. He did the best. The only thing that I need to do right now is to live the life that he would want me to live. And that life, he shaped it when I was a child. And the best thing, the best reward that I can give to my father is to live by his principles, to live by his character. to ensure that what he worked so hard to ensure that uh, this child is shaped in terms of character, I will leave exactly that. He beat me because I would steal something or I would take something without permission. He beat me because I would spoil his electronics and without his permission, definitely. He beat me because I would not talk well to people. He beat me because I was also trouble to my sister. And I'm able to use that right now to be able to live well with others, because there are even other people who are old or mature and they can't get along with people. You know, you meet a person and this person maybe accuses you or talks some bad things to you, and you're just wondering why. So whatever discipline he gave me when I was growing up, I'm now implementing it in my day-to-day life, in my business, in my dealing with people, in my interacting with even strangers. How am I conducting myself? You know? So I don't feel bad that my dad is no more. His body, his flesh is not here, but his spirit is still alive in me. Is the driving force in me. Is the power that drives me in my everyday life. Because I have been able over time to pick gold from that. I've been able to look at the positive more than I concentrate on the negative. And I use the positive to my own advantage. I don't waste my time thinking about, oh, you know, father, you would have done this much better. Oh, dad, you know, when growing up, you would have been this, you would have been this, you know, we would have worked together. No, 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 no. I go back and take the positives and use these positives to my advantage, because he is rested. He is he passed on, but he started living afresh in me. He is living through me. He's accomplishing his purposes through me. And if I don't wake up, if I don't work hard to ensure that his intentions go through in me, then I've failed him. And I've not only failed him, I've failed myself, and I've failed my generation, and I have failed the generation that will come out of me. Because why are you behaving in this way? This is not our DNA. This is not our DNA. Nobody is perfect, yes, but at least, not at least, at most, give the best out of you. Do the best that is inside of you. Don't complain. Don't look back. Don't look at the negative. Take these positives and be able to, you know, make this better. There is no excuse. There is no excuse. Look back, see what is the best thing that you picked at that time, and make it better. I am so glad to share about this journey, and it has really shaped me. It has really made me to be a better person, and I can't go back and in times and tell my father thank you. I cannot go to his grave and try to wake him up and try to say, Father, thank you. No, 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 no. I cannot do that. What I can do is to be able to live the life that he taught me, the discipline, to be able to implement that in life. I cannot go back in time and try to uh, wish that he was alive and do that. No, no, no. That is a waste of time. It is, in fact, not realistic, and I will definitely never get to that point. But I think nature is so set in a manner that This is something that happens. You can be alive today and be gone tomorrow. And people who wished that they came to your life and they appreciated you will have no chance. But the best thing is to implement what these people gave you, how these people touched you in one way or the other. And it also helps me to always appreciate people. Don't look for the bad in people. Don't focus on the negative. Focus on the positive. Make the best out of that positive. Convert that 20% positive that you see in a person. Make it 100, make it 1,000 times. Because, like I said, my father was a perfectionist when it came to furniture, when it came to his dressing, when it came to even a simple thing as hair, combing his hair. He was so perfect, and if he touched his hair or looked in the mirror and saw something, he would repeat again the process. So I take that and ensure that I perfect. If, for instance, I've done something for my customer, I've fixed a TV on the wall, I've fixed a lamp, I have fixed the electronic or whatever gadget, I've helped this customer to do this. If I see any tiny problem, no matter how much someone might think it is so tiny, to me it is so big, because I remember when my father would comb his hair, he would go out of the door. It's in the morning, it's in the day, of course. So there is sufficient light in the house. But he will step outside on the door, use his mirror, ensure that he combed his hair so well. His bag, by the way, used to have that comb. Just in case during the day he wanted to make sure that the hair is keeps on looking great, he would still comb it. And from that example, I'm able to convert that, which for him, maybe he would think it's a 3% or a 1% of his life. I am able to convert that and bring it in my day life, perfecting it, perfecting everything that I do, how I interact with people. Can I give my best? The hair thing was 1%, but here I am in a matatu, in a public transport. I am dealing with people. And the best way to deal with these people is to ensure that I perfectly deal with. If, for instance, someone comes and wants to sit next to me, am I just sitting there? Can I at least create an ample space for this person so that they can also enjoy their journey? So, perfection. So, I am so grateful and I'm so thankful, and I feel every day that my father is so much alive in me, and every move that I make, every step that I make in my life, I stopped looking at the negatives, I stopped regretting, I stopped wishing for things that I know that cannot come back to me, that I cannot go back and ask him questions. I stopped, focusing on that and wondering how I would reward my father for the good he did, or maybe ask him questions, but to live by the positive that he gave me, to live by the legacy that he left me. And I am so grateful to him each and every day. I am so, so thankful that my dad shaped me to be the man that I am today. I have come to the end of this first episode of my story, and I hope in one way or the other it has touched you. If, for instance, you're carrying a lot of baggage in your life, let's say your father treated you in a way that you did not want. Let's say you are suffering because of what your father did to you, what your mother did to you, what your relative did to you. Instead of focusing on that, look for that one. I don't want you to look for 100. Look for that one thing. As much as it is hard for you, look for that one thing and ask yourself, how can you convert that 1% to be 100% and use it to leverage on it. Become the better person, become the best version of yourself, because carrying the baggage will not do you any good. It will do you a lot of harm. It will slow you down in your in your vision. You are meant to be a big to achieve bigger dreams. You're meant to have a great purpose in life. You're meant to be so great. It's only that you're limiting yourself here. You're limiting yourself in your mind, and your thoughts are putting you back, because when you do that, you will have someone to blame, and this person is not going to sort you or help you in anything. If you go back and look at that 1% that this person left you or did, even though you have been left with traumas, your childhood experience was so bad, don't look back to that. Don't look back to that. Don't suffer. Don't slow your life down. Don't fail to achieve your goals because of what this person did. Instead, look for the positive. I know when I reflect back at my childhood, I cannot find a lot of negative, because my father was a protector. He loved us so much. He was a provider. He was there for us. He taught us good morals and all that. But if you did something wrong, he would beat you. I know I have a lot of positive examples, but today I'm encouraging you. If you are going through a lot of hardships and hurdles because of what was done to you in your childhood, remember this. You can go and take that 1% and convert it to your advantage. Make it 100 times. There are things that you cannot do. There are things that you cannot change. Like the way I gave my example, I cannot go to the grave and ask my father questions. I cannot go to the grave and thank him. I cannot go to the grave and I try to to resurrect him and give him a suit or a shoe or his favorite drink or take him to a place to eat. But what I can do is take what he taught me and use it to thank him. And where he is, he's definitely so grateful that my efforts have not gone down the drain. I wanted this person to be this way, and he's exactly this way, or he's a better version of what I would have wanted to see. So an encouragement to you: look for that one thing that you can be so grateful about. Look for how you can make it even better, and leverage upon it to become yourself better and to go for the good things in life, because this life has a lot of abundance in it. This life has great opportunities. Do not limit yourself by the past. Do not put yourself down because of the things that happened to you. No matter how bad or good they were, leverage upon every opportunity. Be able to see the diamond in the dirt, and don't focus on all the dirt. Don't focus on all the heap of the dirt. Focus on that small piece of gold and make it work for you. Make it the best for you, and life will be great. You'll enjoy every minute of your life. You'll see the positive in your life. You'll enjoy and appreciate everyone that you meet and interact with. You'll enjoy your work. You'll be happy for what you do. Every day will be meaningful to you, and you'll always appreciate yourself and be able to live a better life. So thank you. See you next time in my next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching this video. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.